My beloved Madridistas, welcome back to Madrid. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, massive match tonight that I'm really looking forward to. Look, this match is it's not massive in terms of the competition itself. It's still very early, and we're in a very comfortable position, better than last year. But I think it's a massive match because of the rival. We're talking about Juventus, La Vecchia Signora, one of the most legendary clubs in the world. So much history, so much tradition. This is a club I have enormous respect for, a very difficult rival historically as well. So it's going to be a massive game from that perspective. I will be there, of course, with my uncle, who is on a train to Madrid as we speak. He's 82 years old. He comes to every single match. I should tell you guys that story, actually, kind of a cool story. But look, I think this match will be important, not just for the points and the Champions League itself, but also psychologically ahead of the Clásico. I think that what we want to win, but we also want to leave a positive impression. I think psychologically it would be very important to win tonight and to win resoundingly, and to give us kind of a lot of morale and to be in a good headspace going into the Clásico. Look, neither team is in particularly good shape. Neither Real Madrid. I think Juve is probably a little bit worse off. They're in 7th position, not playing particularly well this year. But again, we're talking about the Champions League, and in the Champions League anything can happen. And you are talking about one of the great clubs in Europe. So let me give you guys my thoughts on the match, possible lineup, some of the keys to the match, I think. And then we'll talk about, I'll get you caught up on some other issues as well, Enrique. And that Miami match, which was canceled, I discussed it yesterday in my video. Turns out they canceled it. So we'll get caught up on a couple of other things as well. Thanks for joining me. As always, let's get started. Madridistas, welcome back. Okay, let me give you guys my thoughts on this. Absolutely, clash of titans tonight. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. I can't wait. Like I say, I'm going with my uncle. Let me give you guys my thoughts on the match and lineups and all that, but I will share just a quick personal story with you guys, because people, very often ask me, how did you get involved with Real Madrid? Like, when did all this start, sort of thing. And, when I was a kid, both of my parents are Spanish, obviously. And, when I was a kid, maybe 5 or 6, I had 2 uncles. Unfortunately, now I'm down to 1. But I had 2 uncles, and they would take me to the Bernabeu when I was sort of 5 or 6 years old. And we didn't have seats at the time. We'd have to buy the cheap tickets. And we'd go up to there was an area in the Bernabeu in the 80s called El Gallinero, which literally means the chicken coop. So it was sort of standing room only in the nosebleed section. You had to get to the stadium like 2 hours before they opened the gates. It was just like mayhem. It was very different back then. But it was great. And they would take me to matches, and that's kind of where it all began. And then many years later, in the early 2000s, I actually managed to get my own abonos, which are the 4 abonos that we use now. And so now, I'm the one that's able to take him to matches, which I think is really cool. It's kind of a full circle type story. But anyway, he'll be arriving later tonight. It's great to go to the matches with him because he's 82 years old. He's seen so much football, and some of the observations he makes are just so incisive. His football IQ is incredible, so I really get a lot watching the matches with my uncle. But anyway, I'll be there tonight, and I'll record a clip of the anthem, which I love sharing with you guys. Okay, let's talk about this massive match tonight. Now, if you look at the history of Real Madrid versus Juve, it's actually almost even. It's really close, and I think we're skewed in our perception because the difference is that Real Madrid has won the matches that mattered. So if you kind of look at it, Juve tends to be more successful in the early stages of the competition, in the group stage, but we're always better when it really counts, sort of in the quarterfinals, semis, but obviously, more importantly, the 2 finals where we defeated them. So very even historically, but like I say, Real Madrid tends to win when it counts. That's one of the incredible attributes of this club. Now, in terms of the lineup, look, this is going to be tricky. We don't have Huijsen, we don't have Rudiger, Trent and Carvajal still not ready. Mendy, no, I don't think so. So look, this is the lineup. This is kind of my base case lineup now, but I do have a couple of doubts. My sort of base case. Now with Xabi, you never know because he just loves to shock us and surprise us every week. So, but I think that the sort of baseline expectation would be Courtois in goal, Carreras left back, Fede playing right back, whether he likes it or not, and then I think Asensio and Militao as center backs. Now, Asensio, I don't think that Xabi has the same amount of confidence in Asensio for some reason. I think he plays Asensio, but I think he does it reluctantly. So there is a risk here, and there's a risk, which I'll mention in a minute. But this is my base case. Then I think we'd have Tchouaméni in that pivot position where he's been playing really, really well all year. Arda Güler just a little bit ahead of him, again, playing fantastically, especially as an interior player. Arda Güler in the middle of the pitch is so effective. Jude in the sort of number 10 position, and then up front, I think Vini will be on the left. Kylian will be the number 9. And then I think, look, I'm putting Mastantuono here, but this is my baseline, but I would not be surprised if Xabi brought out Brahim. He could also play Rodrigo on that right wing. That's also a possibility. But for some reason, I have a suspicion that he might play Brahim. There's always a Xabi surprise in the lineup. There's always at least one. So I think it might be either the Asensio situation, where if he doesn't trust Asensio, he'll play Tchouaméni as a center back with Militao. And then, that means that Camavinga would have to come in and play that pivot role with Arda Güler. So that is one of the things that I think could be different. And then the other one is who plays up front on the right. And I'm putting Mastantuono here, but I think there is a significant chance that he could do something unexpected and play Brahim or Rodrigo as well. Okay, now, in terms of Juve, look, Juventus... Italian teams are by nature very, very defensive, and that's exactly what we expect. Juve is going to come out today with 5 defenders. I think they'll play with 3 center backs, with a left back, right back, and 3 center backs. So it'll be a defensive line of 5. I think that they will, play. They're very comfortable, sort of defending, playing in a low to mid block, and then looking for the counter, and then of course looking for to try to take chances when they have them, and particularly in set pieces. So if you kind of think about what I think the keys to this match will be, I think number 1 will be our defensive transition, because it's been a little bit slow this year, and when we lose the ball and the other team starts to counter, I find sometimes we're a little bit slow getting back into defensive position. I think our defensive transition is key. It needs to be very quick and very alert today. One of Asensio's good attributes is that he's very, very quick. So I do think Asensio in a match like this would play quite well, because he does recover. He's got a lot of speed. He's a player I think that in defensive transition does quite well. Militao has recovered his speed to a very significant extent. So I'm very happy about that, because like I say, we need to stop those counters, because Juve, is very quick, very physical, and they can do a lot of harm. Okay, number 2, the obvious, which whenever you talk about Real Madrid weaknesses, this is always on the list, which is set pieces and aerial play. Juve, this is a very physical squad. These guys are strong, they're tall, and they're very good in kind of aerial play, set pieces. They're very direct, very aggressive. And this is exactly a soft spot for us. So I'm, very concerned about set pieces, balls going into the box, and aerial play. I think is going to be quite tricky. I think a third key to this match is, one of the things I've been mentioning in my videos lately is that it takes us a long time to score, and I don't know why that is, but we even when we're playing well and even when we're creating tons of chances, it just seems like it takes forever to score a goal, and that does worry me. I think one of the keys will be that we have to take our chances. This can't be one of those matches where we create, but the minutes go by and you find yourself in the 65th minute and it's still 0-0. We can't do that tonight. We need to take our chances, because teams like Juventus don't need a lot to score. So if you miss a lot of chances, it's a price that you always eventually pay. So I think that the third sort of key to this match will be to make sure that we take our chances. And fortunately, Kylian is just in a great place right now. So in terms of percentages, realistically speaking, I would give us probably a 65% chance of victory, maybe a 20% chance of a draw. and I think maybe a 15% chance of a loss. That's sort of, if I had to put it into percentages, that's sort of where I'd be. But again, I also think that this is an important match, as I mentioned in my intro, in terms of just mentally being in a good place ahead of the Clásico. Barça won last night 6-1 in a match that, they didn't play particularly well. I think the score is somewhat misguided, I think can give the wrong impression. They didn't play particularly well, but you can be sure that it was an injection of morale and really boosted their spirits. So they're coming to Madrid with a lot of confidence and feeling quite good about themselves. I'm sure they'll be recovering some of their other key players in time as well. So Barça, mentally probably feels a little bit better about life after last night. We need to make sure that we do the same thing. We need to win. We need to win resoundingly, and we need to leave the pitch feeling like things are good and working and moving in the right direction. Okay, those are my thoughts on the match. Again, I'm really looking forward to it, and I'll be sure to give you guys my thoughts tomorrow in the post match. Now, in other news, let's get caught up on some other stuff. Okay, yesterday in the video I talked a lot about that match in Miami that Barça was going to play Villarreal. It was supposed to be an away match at Villarreal, but Barça wanted to play it in Miami, and sort of the league was allowing this, in fact, backing the whole thing. Well, for mysterious reasons, last night, as I was watching the Champions League, bingo, the news flash came out that the match in Miami had been canceled. I think the idea is that the official excuse is that the operator of the event backed out just based on some concerns that they had. And some of the feedback coming out of Spain. As I mentioned, everybody in Spain was against this. It's clearly not fair that instead of playing an away match in a very difficult place like La Cerámica against Villarreal, it was a very competent team, instead of playing in a hostile environment, you swap that match for a festive party in Miami where everybody is wearing a Barça shirt. I mean, it's clearly not fair. So I don't know, exactly what prompted the organizers to back out, but I think this is a big blow to Tebas. I think it's a very embarrassing moment for Laporta and Tebas. They were going full steam ahead. They sounded like nothing was going to stop them. So this is, both of these guys are eating humble pie now, but I think that this is for the good of the sport, for the good of La Liga, and I hope that this is a kink in Tebas's armor, and that this, brings him one step closer to resigning or leaving one day, because this guy needs to leave Spanish football because he's destroyed it single-handedly. Okay, let's talk about Enrique very quickly. I mentioned it in my video yesterday. I'm really concerned about the Enrique situation. This kid who I love, he's explosive. He's got incredible speed, finishes unbelievably. He can shoot with both feet, unbelievable power and speed, great intuition, great movement. I think Enrique is a wonderful player. He hasn't played a single minute. Just to let you guys know, the buzz around here is really starting to grow in terms of Enrique leaving in the winter window on loan, and I do think that's a serious possibility. Now, one of the things that worries me about players on loan is that sometimes we keep, our eye is not on the ball, and we lose some great talent, because every time I watch PSG play and I see Achraf Hakimi, I think to myself, my God, that guy could have been ours. And I think he's probably one of the best right backs in the world right now. And it kills me to think that he was one of ours and what we would do to have him now. So I do get a little bit worried. If you look at the Odegaard situation, when Odegaard went to Arsenal on loan, we eventually sold him for about 30 million. And if we had waited one more year, we could have gotten 130. We made another 100, because Odegaard had a breakout year precisely the year after we sold him. Then, of course, there's the case of Take Kubo, who we still own, I think, 50%, and he's in Real Sociedad. But I don't know, I always get worried when they go on loan that somehow we don't have our eye on the ball, and sometimes we let players go that end up being really valuable. So that's my only concern, because I do think Enrique has enormous amounts of talent, and I think he just hasn't been given a fair shake so far. But it does look, by all accounts, that he'll be leaving on loan, and it might be good for him. There's rumors that he might go to the French league. A couple of French teams are very interested in bringing him. He needs to play. It would be good for his personal development, for his confidence. But I just want to make sure that we don't let go of him entirely, because he's a player that I think has a lot of quality. Okay, and then finally, just, on a positive note, Trent and Carvajal are obviously not, they can't play tonight. but they did train with the rest of the squad yesterday, which is really good news. So they're not match fit, but it looks like they're on track to get match fit. So very good news there, because Lord knows we need them, and we need Fede back in the middle of the pitch. But anyway, look, those are my thoughts on the match. It's going to be spectacular, very tense, one of those glorious nights in Madrid. The European nights here are always so special, especially as you get down the tournament, quarterfinals, semifinals. The atmosphere around the Bernabeu on the big European nights is just magical. Something you all need to experience before you leave God's earth. Anyway, listen, those are my thoughts ahead of the match. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I think it'll be a good one, but let me know your thoughts. Thanks again for joining me as always. Love all you guys, and as always, a la Madrid.